shall perish. We shall protect us from
clarion call from Edith of Fossil Zone 1 in Abia province, the leadership of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We are in this platform for the restoration of Biafra because we are proud of the land of rising sun. Biafrans are blessed with natural resources. We are blessed with human resources. We are blessed with great technology and so on and so forth. We never call for war. We never call for hatred. We never call for discrimination, but we call for peace, unity, love, freedom, which is our main goal. Biafra is an ancient nation which was earlier colonized by the British in the earlier 18th century. And Biafra nation has been foretold in the prophecies like Nostradamus 400 back that a powerful prince will arise in the world as the trigger of the gun, that he will be the envy of other princes, and the other prince will try to subdue his arise, but all will be a failure to them. Biafra is an Asian nation that lies along the Atlantic Ocean of Africa with great potential of greatness. Biafra is a nation that will restore peace, liberation, future hope towards our generation. Our predecessors have fought their own, and we present Biafras are not going to relent or surrender to this struggle. We are determined to restore our holy land, which is Biafra, with one voice, one accord, one command, and one agenda, which is Biafra. We all thank Almighty Chukwu Okike Abiyama for his grace, protection, love, care, because we are all alive in the land of the living. God has organized a seeking peace province in Biafra land. Biafra, you are great indeed, the kingdom of God here on earth. We also thank our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the great prince and an icon, the liberator of this global struggle of our time, and his deputy Mazi before, and all the principal of state, coordinators, IGroup family members all around the world. Lovers of freedom. This song is from AC Joe and Derry from Fossil Zone 1 in Abia province. And the Chukwu Okike Abiyama bless you all in your name. Say,
yes, sir. Once again, fellow Biafrans, lovers of freedom, men and women of goodwill, conscious people, wherever you are all over the world, I will say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to some of you, good night, depending on your time zone. This is still Radio Biafra Extra, and we are streaming live through Radio Biafra London, being anchored by the deputy leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. His name is Mazi Uche Okafor. He is from Abatete. Abatete is in Anambra State, and Anambra State is Biafra land. He's the man who has simply assured us that he will not allow the heart of this project to see corruption. Mazi Uche Okafor is standing on a deputizing capacity on behalf of our supreme leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the Prince of Afari Beku, heir to the throne of Ibeku Kingdom, the one and the only man that stood up to speak for the collective interest of the Biafran people for almost 6 decades now. Nobody have done that. It's from Afari Beku. Afari Beku is in Umuahia. Umuahia is in Abia State, and Abia State is Biafra land. By the special grace of Chukwu Okike Abiyama, I remain George Onyibe. I am from Abo. Abo is in Delta State, and of course, Delta State is Biafra land. Without wasting much of our time, we shall go ahead to acknowledge the Creator, Chukwu Okike Abiyama. Chukwu Okike Abiyama, the one who sits in heaven and presides over the affair of man. Ibu Chukwu eboge madwe, Ibu Chukwu eboge madwe, agbanwe, Ibu Chukwu obinigwe, Ibu Chime, Ibu Chukwu eboge madwe. Ibu Chukwu onye na-agwọ ọrịa mo analego, Ibu Chukwu onye na-echi ikpe ziri ezi, nwanne otu onye, Ibu Chukwu anya n'elowa m, Ibu Chime, Ibu Chukwu eboge madwe. Ibu Chukwu onye na-agwọ ọrịa mo analego, Ibu Chukwu onye na-echi ikpe ziri ezi, agbanwe o, Ibu Chukwu o, Chimo, Ibu Chime, Ibu Chukwu eboge madwe. Anyị na-aja gị mma o, maka n'eziokwu n'ịmara mma, ịhụnanya na gị obiọma gị o juru anya anya dadị o inwe gị mgbanwe o ọ dịghị onye dịka gị ịbụ Alfa na Omega anyị niile na-asị na dị mma o. And of course, as always, we are here. Our topic this evening is simply titled, Any Agreement Made with the Nigerian State is an Act of Gambling with the Next Generation of Biafra. Any agreement made with the Nigerian terrorist state is an act of gambling. It's an act of gambling. And believe me, it does not favor anybody. They can call it Niger bet, anything bet. Gambling is evil. It's unfortunate that they encourage you to play gamble now. In those days, there was a musician known as King Yellow Man. One of his tracks, I never forget about it. It was one of the music that stopped me from gambling. I don't gamble. And that song say, some people, they are looking at the gambling. Some people, they are liking it at all. I and I looking at the gambling. I and I liking it at all. The gamble is a game. The more you play, the more you lose your money. And you'll be trying to stay to win it back. But at the end of the day, the little money gotten in your pocket, going around, come on, you want to rock it till end. A gamble is a game. The more you play, the more you lose your money, and you will stay there and you will want to win your money back. It's a lie. The more you play, the more you lose your money, the more you try to play over and over. I'm not saying that I know few privileged ones, but you lose more than you gain. Nobody gamble with the future of his children. No normal human being will gamble with that which they hold dear. I have histories of gambler, and I can assure you Biafrans are not one. Any agreement you have with Nigeria, whether British government agreement with Nigeria, they are all gambling with themselves. Yoruba agreement on the Nigerian state with the Hausa Fulani, all of you are gambling with yourself. Not to talk of you, a Biafran, gambling with Nigeria. You will never win. You will never win. Every promise or promises that has been made to the people of Biafra eventually shows that the Nigerian state cannot be trusted. And any attempt to have any agreement with them, any act of memorandum of understanding with the Nigerian state as a Biafra is just another act of gambling with the future of the next generation. Believe me, we are closer to Biafra than when we first began. I was born in a time where you dare not confront Nigeria. It was Almighty Zul called Nigeria. We were ruled by decree under the auspices of the British government. We were considered as a conquered people. We were so bamboozled that they are trying to Islamize us, to kill us because of our faith. But even some Christians are praying for one Nigeria. What a miserable, wretched gamblers they are. But today, how has the mighty fallen? Almighty British Nigeria, how have you fallen? You know, when this journey started, they start killing us indiscriminately as always. But this time it was in the open. In their heart of heart, let us stop them. Let us intimidate them. Let us harass them. Let us kill them. We have seen everything, and we have seen the worst you have to offer. And we are still here. There is no amount of intimidation. There is no amount of frustration. There is no amount of emasculation. If you like, let the whole world come to Biafra land. We are waiting for you people because our heart is ready. They thought by now, with everything they have done, we will carry AK-47 and then we begin to shoot. We shall shoot, believe me. For 1,000 years after now, we will fight because this matter must be settled. But until then, make no mistake about it. We write the agenda for you, not you. Wake up today, burn the whole album. We are waiting for you. Wake up today, burn down Biafra. You will not tell us how to react because everything you have done, the burning down of Ojofo House, to the invasion of Afari Beku, to the killing of Nnamdi Kanu mother and father, to the generation of 1967 and 1970 that you killed, we are still here. We've gathered the weakness of our fathers as well as their strength, and we have made it part of our beating heart. Nigeria will bleed shame and disgrace. We are not in a hurry to destroy Nigeria, for in the end, we do not have need for AK-47. We do not have need for nuclear warhead. We promise you, Nigerians, that one day we will wake up like this and we will boycott Nigeria in its totality. Every governor in Biafra land will boycott Nigeria. Every politician, senator, all of you, monarch, saboteur, all of you will be forced to boycott Nigeria in the end. It has started already. How wish you can see that. Any agreement you make with Nigeria is an act of gambling. And who is that idiot that want to gamble with our life? It is not possible. Today, Nigerians feel the power of unity. Today, Nigerians see what they have not been able to comprehend. They have not heard about it before. They have not seen it before. And we are Biafran, the reincarnated spirit of those you murdered. We are not going anywhere. We are here. For our mission is simple. It is no longer classified. It is laid bare open that all might see. We want Biafra, Biafra, Biafra. Nothing more, nothing less. No matter the conspiracy, no matter the intimidation, no matter those who are involved in this matter, we write the agenda for all of you. Our leaders say this is the time we leave our door open. Let them show themselves. But in the end, like I always say, the world is on trial because of the issue of Biafra. The world is on trial. For in the end, maybe there will be need to begin to redefine a lot of things we have known. Because of the issue of Biafra, it looks like justice means injustice. It looks like fairness means unfairness. But we shall continue. We must not forget about the promises known as the 3 arrows, among others. There is no promise, any promise Nigeria made to you. I'm sorry for you. They brought war to our land because of this same heinous crime against humanity being perpetrated in our land as directed by the British government because they want oil. Many countries around the world conspired against our people. You see, one thing Biafrans must understand and know that nobody will save you in the end except you save yourself. If you like, become one Nigerian Biafra. It is your business. If you like, become a Yoruba pastor, one Nigeria. It is your business. If you like, become saboteur. It is your business. If you like, be inside IPOB and be fighting IPOB. It's your business. But the truth remains that everything can change. God can never change. Everything can change. Biafra will not change. Sometimes the children of Israel relaxed. And then the world conspired against them. There were many people alive that time, seeing the Israelites being born in gas chamber, slaughtered across the globe. Where was justice? But I thank God today they all rose up and did the right thing. We will get to that stage. They are just killing us 10-10, 50-50, per day. Is it not just 11 they kill? But there is no protest we have organized. In fact, in Donald Trump rally, when we were rejoicing that Donald Trump won as a president of America, I was in that protest. My coordinator have one eye today. How many are we going to talk about? My Benue brother was shot dead and was buried recently. Over 30 people died that very day. The amazing thing today now is that am I coming to tell you that we have all the record of these people who died? No, because they killed and carried the dead body. And then United Nations is going to ask us, EU is going to ask us, Amnesty International is going to ask us, of course, as a matter of record purposes. But we don't have dead body of over 75% of those who were murdered because they killed them, carried their dead body away, buried them in a shallow grave, pour acid on their body. We still have IPOB members still alive with acid wound on their body. But who will give us justice? Except we go for this justice. Who will listen to the sound of our cry? For we have been crying for over 200 years. But the journey has begun, and that is one truth all of you must know. After the war that they killed almost 10 million people, we have different accounts. Nigeria will say a war where 1 million people died is okay. Some European country will say a war where almost 2 million died. Some say 700,000. But did you count the ones that their dead body was eaten by fish? Did you count the ones that were adopted? Did you count many of the Kwashoko children that was dropped in different countries around the world? Do we know how many you people have used as a guinea pig in the lab across the globe? Do we know how many of them where they are today? Who gave account of these people? We just want our life back, that is all. We have the record that 3.5 million is innocent women and children, not the gallant, brave soldiers who fought to defend our land with firewood, and the world was watching. We were used to kill ourselves. The same thing they are trying to do today. We'll betide you as a Biafran in Gala. We'll betide you as a Biafran in Doma. We'll betide you as a Biafran in Edo State. We'll betide you Biafra in Enugu, Biafra in any part of Biafra land. Who will be a saboteur to fight against us? For the memory of your people will be that of Ekan. And like Gehazi who ate the bread of sorrow, and leprosy will not leave that. That is how all of you will be. For if you are here to conquer anybody, if you are here to take Yoruba land, if you are here to take Hausa Fulani land, if you are here to take that which does not belong to us, may he, Chukwu Okike Abiama, leave us at the mercy of our enemy. But if not, and then somewhere along the line, they couldn't hide the news any longer. People were beginning to react. An American citizen burned himself up. A lot of people were making money and feeding from our misery. They want to shut us down. You cannot talk about it. Today, these people come and deceive themselves and remind you about Rwanda genocide. But they committed more crime. Look at Nigerian Yoruba propaganda media. They say this in IPOB is doing is going to cause problem. That is how Rwanda broadcast on radio and there was war and many people died. But we didn't broadcast on radio. Over 10 million Biafran died. Who the heck is deceiving who here? And then they gather us and say, okay, it's okay. There is no victor, no vanquish. But today they are telling us we are conquered people. But the war ended by no victor, no vanquish. Who the heck is gambling with who here? And they said, yes, we are going to reconstruct, we are going to rehabilitate, we are going to reconcile. Where are all the reconciliation and the rekangwangwa and the rekangwongu? You are deceiving us, right? But rather, what do? They make sure that all that was left of us after the war is destroyed. Today in Yaba, Lagos, Nigerian terrorist custom officer and immigration, we are there breaking the lock-up shop of our people, Biafran people who have traveled home. They went there and begin to break their shop and carry their markets. But of course, you know how that will end. In their mind, we will emasculate them, we will teach them lesson, we will do that one. We are praying, suffer us the more. Because this will make us wake up. When it was time for the children of Israel to leave Egypt, the day Moses rose up and said, Pharaoh, let my people go. And Pharaoh said, these people have been enjoying, they are lazy, that is why they are crying to go. In fact, you have to double the number of bricks they make on daily basis. Increase their suffer. That is exactly what Nigeria is playing out. We say we want to go. Now, you have to close border. You have to import Fulani. You are going bribing the whole world against us. You are destroying our business. You are frustrating us. And somewhere along the line, we are going to back up. Do you know who sent us? Do you know who sent us? Kunyeni budike o, kunyeni budike, kunyeni budike, ihe jamali adike iruana o. Kunyeni budike o, obinigwe kunyeni budike o, kunyeni budike, ihe jamali adike iruana o. Banuru olu anyo, na banuru olu anyo, banuru olu anyo, na banuru olu anyo. onwere mgbe ike Awụsa ga-akarị ike Chukwu, onwere mgbe ike Yoruba ga-akarị ike Chukwu, onwere mgbe ike British government ga-akarị ike Chukwu, onwere mgbe ike Fulani ga-akarị ike Chukwu, onwere mgbe ike Sabutu ga-akarị ike Chukwu. Nna banuru okike ekere ụwa, banuru olu anyị. Reconstruction, rehabilitation, reprofession, where are all of them? You think you are fooling us? Bring down your hair. Unleash hell on us. But in the end, we will know who is deceiving who. Like I said, our topic is simple. And any act of agreement with the Nigerian state is just an act of gambling. And believe me, gambling and trying to win it back. But in the end of the day, you will lose everything that you have. Nigerians are under oath to make sure that our land is not developed. They are under oath to make sure that they continually emasculate us as a people. Imagine the currency we use on daily basis as supposedly Nigeria simply mean never allow Igbo to rule again. Naira, never allow Igbo to rule again. This is how bad it can be. And some people are claiming they don't know. And let me tell you, on Biafra, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not here to represent any religious interest. Neither am I against any religious interest. I'm not here for Gomo or Christian or Judaism or Yahadarian or Arabatarian or anything. I am here for Biafra. For in the end, we were here before religion came. And when you call, talk your own and leave other people alone. I'm still a reverend by the grace of God. Nobody violates my faith, my conscience. Nobody violates my religious belief. But we were here before this nonsense started. I don't preach religion. I'm not against any of them. But I'm against Yoruba 10%. Everything will drop down. Everything we labor for, we lay it down. Apostle Paul said, for everything I counted as gain before. Now I count it as lost. Only one thing matters now. That is Biafra. And Chukwu Okike Abiama. Any other thing is bunkum as far as I'm concerned. You can yap for all you care. Because in the end of the day, the Christians are not stood up again. These Islamic jihadists, we have failed to do the needful. We are buying private jets and we want to blame Fulani for it. You are building church bigger than a whole America, but you are a very hopeless man with your church member not being able to go to your school. Let Biafra go. If God would have come down and stand against Biafra, and then if I have access to his court, I will demand for justice. For he is not unjust God. He is our Redeemer, and he has sent us. Job was so frustrated by Satan that he said, God, look at what has happened to me. But how I wish I have a lawyer, an advocate that will speak for me. How I wish I know where your court sits. I would have come to challenge you in your court. But notwithstanding, I know that my Redeemer liveth. But we won't challenge the Creator. For in the end, he made us Biafra in the first place. And how will he deny us that Biafra that he made us in the first place? Because of Fulani or British government that want to steal oil on notice, feeding and building city on the misery of our people, hunting down our people across the globe as if the animal. But yet our people don't understand that the day you turn your back against Biafra, you are playing gamble, and you can be rest assured you will lose. They constantly initiate strategy to undermine us as a people. Yet some believe and say, let us have faith. And so they make us promises that will never be. You know, Igbo presidency, some people will sell us. Oh, articulation and obituarization, where are they? But these promises have been there since we were born. And look at how old we are. The promises are still there. We're going to clean up, we're going to clean up, we're going to clean up. You are gambling with your life. They share 2,000 for all of you. You keep quiet. And some Fulani blood somewhere in Bayelsa and Delta State or maybe River State. And are they yapping? Because your blood is mixed already. Why can't an Ijaw man have an oil well? Why can't a river man have an oil well? The one that there is no oil again, they give to you, and you be scraping the button. Whereas idiot like T.Y. Danjuma, or Babangida, and other terrorists like Obasanjo, also the resources in your land. They did their job very well anyway. They did their job very well, making sure we will not recover. But they never knew we are their destiny and we are their doom. We will send a very positive signal across to them very soon. Whatever they do, in the end, it will work for our good. Every way imaginable, they want to emasculate us. Igbo presidency, we're going to clean up. Free education. Useless thing. But beneath the scene, they are undoing us as a people. They have two main strategies with which they assess the gullible leaders in Biafra land, and some of which we are going to consider tonight. Two main strategies. But of course, I will play an audio and expect that somebody will listen to it, and then we will continue from there.
I'm going to crunch 1,400 years of Islamic history in 5 minutes and make it as exciting as I can possibly make it, because I hated history when I was a little girl. At this age, I appreciate history. And now I understand why they say those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. In order for you to understand right now is I'm going to crunch 1,400 years of Islamic history in 5 minutes and make it as exciting as I can possibly make it, because I hated history when I was a little girl. At this age, I appreciate history. And now I understand why they say those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. In order for you to understand why Western civilization is very different than the Islamic world, you need to understand the history of Islam. When Prophet Muhammad supposedly revealed his revelation from the angel Gabriel that he is supposed to be the last of the prophets in the early 600s, he started preaching in his own city, Mecca. He tried to recruit friends and followers to be able to spread his religion. And he tried for 12 years and failed. And after 12 years, he was only able to recruit his immediate family and friends. So he decided, if I go to Medina, which was the Jewish hub of Arabia, the business hub where the Jews lived, if I go there and preach my religion to them, if they accept me, that will buy me respect and stature between my own people, and they will accept me. So Prophet Muhammad started borrowing a lot from the Old Testament to make his religion more palpable to the Jews, to make it a lot similar. This is why you see a lot of similarities between Judaism and Islam. For example, Jews don't eat pigs, Muslims don't eat pigs. Jews pray a few times a day, Muslims pray a few times a day. Jews fast on Yom Kippur, Muslims fast on Ramadan. And this is why you started seeing a lot of good writing in the beginning of the Quran when Prophet Muhammad was saying all the good things about the people of the book. He took his message and went to Medina trying to recruit the Jews, talking about the people of the book, talking about how similar the two religions are. When they refused to accept him and follow him as the last of the prophet, that's when he turned against them and started killing them and started expelling them. That's when Islam went from a spiritual movement for the first 12 years of Islam into a political movement cloaked in religion after the year of the Hijrah, after Muhammad went to Medina and the Jews did not accept him. He became a military warrior and declared war on them and started expelling them. Jews and Christians became dhimmi, or second-class citizens. They were only allowed to stay alive and not be killed only by paying the jizya, or the protection tax. So they had a choice: convert to Islam, or if you want to stay alive, you have to pay the jizya or protection tax, living as dhimmi in the Islamic nation. Christians and Jews could not ring church bells. Jews could not blow the shofar. Christians could not ring church bells. They could not pray publicly. Christians and Jews could not gather together and build new churches or new temples. And the way they paid the jizya or the protection tax was in a monthly ceremony where they would get together downtown and the Jew would kneel on his knee and hand his goods to the mullah, who would take the goods as the price for buying the protection. And in many areas, Jews and Christians were given necklaces to wear as a receipt that they paid their jizya or their protection tax. Jews considered najis under Islam. Najis is bodily fluid. Najis is garbage. Najis is dogs. Najis is dirty. So Christians and Jews were treated as second-class citizens. Islam continued to grow. As Islam grew, more people became dhimmi or second-class citizens. Jews and Christians were given identifiable clothing. The yellow star, which was given to the Jews that most people think is a German invention. It was actually an Islamic invention in the 9th century in Iraq by the second Khalif al-Mutawakkil of Iraq, who invented the yellow star for the Jews to be identified as they walked down the street. Because Jews were considered najis, if a Muslim man or a Jew walked on the same side of the street, the Jew had to cross the other side so the Muslim man can walk, so he's not dirtied by the filth of the Jew. Christians were given the zunnar, the belt, which most of you men are wearing right now. That was an Islamic invention for the Christians. Islam continued to grow. They went all the way to Jerusalem. They conquered Jerusalem. Christians couldn't ring their church bells in Jerusalem. The Pope in Rome in 1090 told the Christians, how could you sit idly by and allow your brethren to suffer like this in the Holy Land? You need to go liberate the Christians. You need to go help the Christians. That's why the Crusaders were launched. The Crusaders were not launched because they just felt like waking up in the morning and going and converting a bunch of Muslims or beheading them. The Crusaders were launched to liberate Jerusalem. And they were able to liberate Jerusalem then 100 years before Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi, Saladin, took it back, and Jerusalem remained under Islamic control until 1967, when the State of Israel liberated Jerusalem, where Christians, Jews, and Muslims could pray under the same sky. The Crusaders continued fighting Islam, and for 300 years they tried and failed. And by the 1300s, the Crusaders disappeared because they could not win against Islam. Islam continued to expand. They went all the way to Central Europe. They went all the way to China. They went to India. They conquered Spain. They changed the name of Spain from Spain to Andalusia. And they started, as they advanced, as they conquered more nations, more people paid the jizya or the protection tax. And this is how the Islamic Empire grew. It went all the way until they was stopped at the gates of Vienna on 9/11. 9/11 is not a date that Osama bin Laden just picked out of a hat. 9/11 is a symbolic date in the Islamic calendar. Between the 1600s, Islam had covered more of the earth's surface than the Roman Empire did at its peak. Between the 1600s and the 1800s, the Europeans were experiencing the European Industrial Revolution, where the Europeans were able to invent products on factory lines, where they are able to make money and sell products, which gave them the money to build a strong army in order to fight the Muslims. And that's how they were able to stop them at the gates of Vienna on 9/11. The Europeans started the pushback against Islam. They pushed them out of Europe. They pushed them out of all the way to the Middle East and North Africa. By 1924, the Islamic Empire ended. In 1924, the Islamic Caliphate ended in Turkey by President Ataturk, who was a secularist. He ended the Islamic Empire, and he gave women rights to vote. He gave women a right to an education, a right to work, a right to choose a husband. He forbid women from wearing the hijab. He forbid men from wearing the beard. The Muslims hate him so much that they consider him a Jewish agent, because they believe that his mother in her bloodline was Jewish, and that was the influence on Ataturk. By the time the Islamic Empire or the Islamic Caliphate or the Islamic State ended in 1924, the Islamic Caliphate had existed for 1400 years, and it ended less than 100 years ago. By the time the Islamic Caliphate ended in 1924, 270 million people around the world were killed by Islam. 270 million. And we didn't have weapons of mass destruction, and there was nuclear weapons. All of these people were killed, butchered by the sword. The people in the world, less than 100 years ago, how many people knew this history? Please raise your hand. We in America have failed to educate our children about history. We in America failed to educate our population about history. Our children in high school, you take any 17, 16-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid, and ask them about World War II. They can't even tell you what happened in World War II. For them, it's ancient history, and we still have our World War II veteran walking among us. That's how little we know of history. Islam ended.
That is exactly what they are doing. They remove history from Nigerian record. Today, many Biafrans don't even know what is Biafra. They say, leave it, let's move ahead. You don't know anything about your village. This is exactly the same thing repeating itself. There are just two things I want to draw our attention to on this very audio, and then we shall wind up.
In 1924, the Caliphate. People thought the Caliphate will never be resurrected. The Caliphate will never come back. But two things happened in the Middle East in the last century that made the Islamists be able to resurrect the Caliphate. Number one is the discovery of oil in Saudi Arabia, which we were able to discover and were stupid enough to allow them to nationalize it. And the number two that happened was Ayatollah Khomeini coming to power in 1979. That gave the Islamists the money, and also right now is I'm gonna crunch 1400 years of Islamic history in 5 minutes and make it as exciting as I can possibly make it, because I hated history when I was in school. You take any 17, 16-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid, and ask them about World War II. They can't even tell you what happened in World War II. For them, it's ancient history, and we still have our World War II veteran walking among us. That's how little we know of history. Islam ended in 1924, the Caliphate. People thought the Caliphate will never be resurrected. The Caliphate will never come back. But two things happened in the Middle East in the last century that made the Islamists be able to resurrect the Caliphate. Number one is the discovery of oil in Saudi Arabia, which we were able to discover and were stupid enough to allow them to nationalize it. And the number two that happened was Ayatollah Khomeini coming to power in 1979. That gave the Islamists the money and also the spiritual covering in order to explode on the world stage. And people say, oh, well, the Wahhabis exported their Wahhabi radical religion. The Wahhabis are the name of Wahhab. They're not a different sect of Islam. They follow the authentic preaching of Prophet Muhammad, the way Prophet Muhammad lived and practiced his religion. This is why neither you or me or any infidel can step a foot in Mecca, because as far as they're concerned, we are filth. And as infidels, we're not allowed to step a foot, not President Obama and not anybody else. As a matter of fact, Al-Qaeda used to use Saudi Arabia and its success as an excuse to recruit members, as the example to show them how Allah has blessed Saudi Arabia because of the way they adhere to the tenets of Islam. And today we talk about ISIS. ISIS is not a new invention. ISIS resurrected the caliphate that ended less than 100 years ago. Except we are too ignorant and too uninformed to understand what ISIS is doing and why ISIS is succeeding. Two things you need to understand about Islam and the principles of war in Islam. One is the law of taqiyya, which means lying and deception. It means that a Muslim man can lay his hand on the Quran and swear that he is telling the truth, knowing that he is lying, but also knowing that the Quran will forgive him because he is advancing the cause of Islam. The second thing you need to know about is that the Treaty of Al-Hudaybiyah which is an Islamic principle of war and a model on how to deceive your enemy when you have to sign peace treaties with your enemy. And it is based on an example by Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad was attacking the Meccans and their caravans when he was living in Medina. One day he attacked them because this is how he got the goodies. He would attack them, rob them, and spread the goodies among his men. And this is how he was able to recruit, because this is how people made money without working. And so he attacked the Meccan caravans. When he realized he's not able to defeat the Meccans in that city of Al-Hudaybiyah, in that place, he signed a 10-year treaty with them. Does that sound familiar? A 10-year treaty with them that says he will not attack them, he will have peace with them, he will not declare war on them. Muhammad used the treaty for 2 years to build his military, strengthen his army, and when he realized he was strong enough to attack his enemies when they least expected it, because they thought they had a peace treaty with Muhammad, he broke the treaty, attacked them 2 years later, and Mecca fell within 24 hours because they were not expecting the attack. And that became a principle of war in Islam. And to give you an example of how that is practiced, this is why anything signed with Iran means nothing to them. And to give you an example of how this law has been put to use in recent history, Yasser Arafat, who's not an Islamist, but he is a Muslim, met with the Israelis and signed the Oslo Accord in 1993. Remember all the handshaking at the lawn of the White House? The Oslo Accord, Yasser Arafat used the peace treaty, the Oslo Accord with Israel, to get Israel to bring him back and give him his territory, finance his military, train his police, and give his police the weapons. Yasser Arafat broke the Oslo Accord 8 years later, didn't even wait 10 years, and declared the second Intifada in 2000, and all hell broke loose. He used the same treaty to win and deceive against his enemies and deceive his enemies. When Jordanian press, after Yasser Arafat signed the Oslo Accord with Israel, and Egyptian press would interview Yasser Arafat, and they would say, how could you sign a peace treaty with the devil? How could you sign a peace treaty with the Jews? Yasser Arafat will tell them, remember Hudaybiyah. That's all he would have to say. The whole Muslim world knew exactly what Yasser Arafat was talking about. We in the West and the Jews in Israel, it was over their heads. Nobody understood what Hudaybiyah was referring to. And this is the type of deception that we are dealing with. So when Iran signs a peace treaty with the United States for 10 years, they are using us as useful idiots, as gullible, ignorant people who are signing a peace treaty with the devil in order for Iran to continue her thing.
In this deadly game of thrones, there's no place for America or for Israel. We don't have to gamble with our future and with our children's future. Elie Wiesel. And I wish I could promise you, Elie, that the lessons of history have been learned.
That is why it is so important to be wise about who we're going to put in the White House next year. This is why it is very important that whoever we're going to elect next year to office, that the next president be well informed about the history of radical Islam, understand our enemy, understand what ISIS is all about, understand what their end goal is. And this is exactly, people are wondering how come ISIS is having such success recruiting people from all over the world. They exploded all over the world. The Pew Research did a poll, and of course the Pew Research is not Brigitte Gabriel, is not Fox News, is not Tony Perkins. The Pew Research did a poll in 2013 when they went around the world and interviewed Muslims from Islamic countries all over the world, and they asked them 2 questions. Would you like to have Sharia law as the law of your country? And would you like to see the Islamic Caliphate? And remember, this was in 2013, before ISIS. The 5 top countries in the world, in the Islamic world, the 5 top Islamic countries: Indonesia, 204 million Muslims. Indonesia, Pakistan, Egypt, Nigeria, and Bangladesh. 77% of Muslims interviewed in these Islamic countries, 77% want the establishment of Sharia law and want the establishment of an Islamic state. That means 77% of the world, quote, moderate Muslims agree with the establishment of ISIS and what ISIS is doing. Let's not fool ourselves. This is very important, that whoever we're going to elect is going to be somebody who is strong on national security, who's going to put America first, who's going to make America great again, who's going to send a strong message to the world. The minute he walks into office, whoever we elect, that the world is going to realize that this person you're not going to mess with, because he could care less about what you think, what the UN thinks, what the world thinks. They can all go to hell. We care about America and only the United States of America.
Yes, we care about Biafra. The same thing that has been happening over and over, repeated again, is the same thing that is happening today. When you tell the Christians in Nigeria, look at what is happening, but Yoruba want 10%. They champion Christianity. They are the Muslim in Nigeria. They are the one using Christian to deceive you people. We are telling you that Nigeria is doomed. Nigeria is evil and cannot be trusted. British government know this thing, but they don't want to fall alone. Britain gave us Bible, but today the most popular name they bear as a British people are Mohammed. Their country have been overrun. And they want it to happen in Biafra land, not in Biafra land. Not today, not tomorrow, not forever. For in the end, Peking will say, Mama no go sleep, no go sleep. But will Nigerians understand that Nigeria is a death trap? Will Yoruba leave 10% alone and destroy this zoo called Nigeria? And maybe there will be future for their children. Will Biafrans who are one Nigerians wake up? For you are a target, if you like. That is why our leaders say, serve the zoo and come back in shame. There is no two ways about it. This audio is not coming from Radio Biafra. It's coming from America. Britain know the truth. Saudi Arabia know the truth. Idiots in Nigeria know the truth. America know the truth. China know the truth. Japanese know the truth. But they pretend as if they don't know. And then our people want to gamble with the next generation. We will not allow you. Before we die, none of you will be alive. It is a promise and not a threat. So that thing you are doing, that thing you say you sabi, we come here on daily basis. We continue shouting until we are sure we have your attention. There are two strategies there that we need to understand. And number one there is that they lie seriously, because lying means nothing to them. Under oath, they lie. Imagine the level of lying Nigerians tell. Liar Mohammed can lie. Adeshino can lie. This is Fulani and Yoruba. Somebody said something. By this time now, prophecy is coming. All the whole pastor in Nigeria, all the whole afar. In about 24 hours, we are waiting for your prophecy. Because all your prophecy for this year have failed because of Radio Biafra, idiot. Our Facebook is waiting for all of you. Facebook can work for Islamic Nigeria. We don't send any of you. Because any moment from now, they start lying. The Lord told me, the Lord told me. The only thing the Lord going to tell all of you now is that Biafra must be restored. The only thing you should tell the Lord to tell you now is to divide this Nigeria, because there will be no hiding place for any of you. What are the people saying? Hey, Mazinani, can we be disgraced internationally? Idiots everywhere. We don't support nonsense people. We don't support idiots. How can you be more Catholic than the Pope? We are waiting for your prophecy. About 24 hours. We are waiting for all your prophecy. But of course, will you understand? Will you apply your heart to wisdom? Will you choose light instead of darkness? Are you willing to embrace the truth instead of falsehood? You know, we're going to manage Nigeria. We're going to pray to the Lord to build Nigeria. Did the Lord build Israel? But he gives grace to men that ask for grace. He's not a carpenter or a shoemaker. He's not a mason. God will not do for man what man should do for themselves. To the Muslim, lying means nothing to them. That is why they tell you that Oyel and Bayelsa belong to Jigawa. That is why they keep lying to you in the name of Ogoni cleanup and Igbo presidency and third Niger bridge. That is why they can come out in a broad daylight and tell you that chimpanzees swallow money. Koro, broad daylight, they lie from their anus. If you hold their mouth, they start. Go and look at Adeshino and Laya Mohammed. Hold their mouth, they start lying with their anus. And somebody said, we gonna do. What are you gonna do? Lying mean nothing to them. But the truth is that they cannot be trusted. Number two thing I want you to take tonight from that long clip we have just played is that they will never keep any agreement because it's not in their nature. Ojukwu went to Abuli Accord to settle this matter. Gowon lied to him. He can't keep the agreement. They came back, Gowon declare war on our people. What about the Abuli Accord? Today, some idiots are canvassing for retorture. Who the hell do you think are going to retorture? They cannot keep any agreement. They can't. It's not because they will not want to. That is what Islam tells them. That is what governs the basic foundation principle of their faith. We are infidel, and as such must be killed. Above all, they see us as a conquered people who will never be the author of their destiny. But we say they lie. I make no mistake about that. So when anybody is telling you to have faith in Nigeria, you remind them that Nigeria is Wahhabism. You remind them that Nigerians are liars. Remind them that Nigeria will never exist. So therefore, you have a choice to stop Nigeria. Or better still, let Nigeria stop you. But have it at the back of your mind that the sacrifice of our foreign heroes will never be in vain. The sacrifice of our leader, Mazen Nandekano, an honorable IPOB member, genuine IPOB member across the globe, dead or alive, will never be in vain. I'll be back in a minute.
We have crossed our sea. We've gone far in this wilderness. Because few steps ahead. We are no longer in Egypt. We have crossed our seas. We've gone far in this wilderness. Because few steps ahead. When it gets tough to end this letter of our heroes, we not defend. No retreat, no surrender. Already here.
Of course, I have a very little time because duty calls. But having said that, you are a Biafran anywhere in the world, you still having faith in one Nigeria, may the Lord be with you. You are here to join IPOB, send your name, your location, and your phone number to our WhatsApp line, which is 070-815-45642. 070-815-45642. Our direct line is 081-221-52971. 081-221-52971 is our direct line. And special number for the female is 08090-392. I beg your pardon. Special number for the female 081-228-58614. Our lines are open at this moment. Just take one or two callers and I will wind up on this segment. Can you hear me, caller? Go ahead, please.
My name is Mazin Duguesede. I want to thank you, Onyibe, for what you are doing for us. By the grace of Chukwu Kikadama today, I am from Naron Ateze, and it is a privilege for me to host Biafra this hour. Despite that, Chukwu Kikadama will help us because Okikekele Enigokewa has decided to restore Biafra. That's why he gives us Eze, Ukukaro, and the wife, and the Mazin Namode Kanu, the channel where our leader through passed to us, where Chukwu Kikadama want to restore us. Give us those three persons. Mazin Namode Kanu today is representing to the whole world, like Yahweh Yeshua. The first time he came, his own people did not recognize him. He reincarnated now in the position of Mazin Namode Kanu to come and save the whole world. But unfortunately, people are still waiting for rapture to come. But they did not know that the Savior of the whole world have appeared in the design of Mazin Namode Kanu. Sorry to say is Biafrans, you hold yourself. Come back to the root. Naro na teze. Biko onye ọbụla n'ugwu ya. Unu na-agba Christmas. Unfortunately, unu choose na Nigeria to the detriment of our own. Shame to each and every one of you that celebrate Christmas.
My brother, I don't like that. My brother, I don't like that. I celebrated. My brother, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. And you go and kill the oro somewhere else. How can you tell me that I celebrate Christmas and shame on me? Where kill oro? You go there and kill oro for who kill oro for you. I said this when I started. I'm not for any religion and I'm not any religion. And I remain a Christian until this moment. How can you call me and tell me shame on me? Coordinate yourself when you come close to me. But of course, we must continue. When Christians do bad, we tell them they do bad. And when Muslims do bad, we tell them they do bad. When Ogomo do bad, we tell them they do bad. Biafra stand above all until we are proven otherwise. Caller on the female line, your name and where are you calling from?
Hello?
Good evening from here, Ada. Your name and where are you calling from?
Good evening, Mars. Onyibe. Happy to speak with you this night. Thank God for you and all the principal officers and our leader for what you are doing.
Of course, as always, that is Zoo Epileptic Network. We must continue. Our people must remain focused. For Biafra is all we ask for. Are you there, caller on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
This is female line, please. No male should call the female line, please. And I will advise that when you call, go straight to the point. We want to go home. Nobody should come and gamble with the future of the next generation because it is not accepted. Can you hear me, caller on the line? Good evening from here. Go ahead, please.
I'm so grateful. Thank you for everything you are doing. Thank you for your work. Next to our ability, Amazon, the Kano. Thank all of you people for the 40 people are putting together the actualization of our peaceful land. Also, I thank you as an African rep for restoring our radio in the Bonnie. I'm so grateful.
That time should go to the leadership of IPOB who are doing the needful, my brother. Go ahead.
And also, thank you so much. So I just want to appreciate you and also to commend you for your work. Thank you so much.
We must continue.
So forget my name, and my name is Joshua, calling from my country.
Thank you very much. Our people must understand. It has started, it has started. We must not lay down our guard because the journey has just begun. Are you there, caller on the line?
Hello.
Yes, good evening from here.
Good evening, sir.
Well,
sir, kam kelegi na asụsụ ebe anyị awụ m onye Mbaise. Aha m bụ Bernardine Aranya. So ana m ekene gị na-ekene onye isi anyị Maazị Nnamdi Kanu na ihe unu na-eme obi juru m aṅụrị. So I'm very much happy. Anakwara m ekene Chukwu okike abịa ama ana m akpọku ya n'isi unu na onwe ihe na-eme ni Chineke okike abịa ma ga nọrọ unu n'ihu nọrọ unu n'azụ n'aka nri n'aka ịkpa onwe ihe na-eme ni ihe na-eme ndị zoo ihe na-eme ndị zoo very very well. Mgbe na-adịghị anya anyị ga-eburu abụ ekele jee kpọkuo Chukwu okike abịa ma kelee ya na ihe ọma ọ na-emere anyị. Mgbe na ọ dịghị anya na anyị ga-eme ya so jishi na ike otu ahụ unu na ebe ahụ na-agba mbọ anyị nwa nọ n'ụlọ ebe a na Mbaise Imo steeti n'ime n'ala Biafra land n'onwe ihe na-emeni Chukwu okike ga-akwụ unu n'ihu kwụkwụ unu n'azụ ụmụaka unu n'onwe ihe ga-emehini unu bụ unshakable onye ọbụla nọ n'ime Chineke onweghị ihe na-eje mie. Onye ọbụla nọ n'ime Chineke ihe na-aga eme. Chineke bụ unchangeable changer. Onweghị ihe na-eme unu. Carry go. Anyị na-ebe a na-asọpọtụ unu n'ụzọ ọwụla. Anyị ga-adị na-akpọ eti unu n'ekpere. Na onweghị ihe megana, onweghị ihe begana. Nnamdi Kanu ya dere edu maka ọnwụ papa ya na mama ya. Onweghị ihe menyene. A ga-eli papa ya na mama ya n'ala Biafra. And na anyị ga-eje deri alụ ha n'ala Biafra. Je shekie ụwa, shekie obodo n'ime ala Biafra. So jishi n'ike. Adịghị ihe megana. N'afọ nke anyị na-aba 2020 na anyị nwe mmeri. Chukwu okike abịama akwụtala anyị n'ihu, kwụta anyị n'azụ, kwụta anyị n'aka nri, kwụta anyị n'aka ịkpa, kwụta anyị n'elu, kwụta anyị n'ala. Carry go. Enugo. Onye nwe m Chineke were ihu ọma Christmas a, were ihu ọma New Year, bless aram gị Nnamdi onye isi anyị Nnamdi Kanu na dị ihe megane n'aha Chukwu okike abịama. Ise.
We must continue. Caller on WhatsApp, are you still there, please?
Yeah, Master George Onyibe. Good evening from here.
Good evening. Thank you for holding on. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, my name is Okechukwu Okoro. I'm from local government. Effium local government is in Ebonyi State, and Ebonyi State is Biafra land. But I'm calling from Germany right now. Mazi, we have a lot of problems. A lot of problems that we have in Biafra land, which is those people who call themselves pastors in Biafra land. There are many of our problems, because if we try to preach this gospel to our people for them to understand, when they go to church, the pastor will start to preach and discourage them.
That is why when you call, don't just say pastor do bad. Call them and say what they are doing. That is when people will understand you are not attacking any Christian. There are a lot of idiot pastors everywhere, idiot Afa, idiot Ogomo everywhere. You tell us what they do, the people will understand. But when we come, we say, Pastor, do the look is attack on the religion. Let us attack the idiot hiding under the clause of religion. So our battle will be fair. That is my concern here. Tell us what they did.
Yes, because they are seeing all these evil things that happen in that country, the way the Fulanis are killing the Christians, and the way they are persecute the Christians in that country, Biafra land. But they don't want to say something about it. They will continue to be deceive their members to be praying for one Nigeria, pray for one Nigeria. Okay, you can see the way Father Mbaka did. But Mbaka must a pastor that I love before.
We are waiting for them now.
Right
About 24 hours. Let them come and prophesy. We are waiting for them. We are waiting for prophecy.
I want to tell our people, let us do not allow ourselves to be deceiving in all these pastors. Because any pastor in Biafra land who is not preaching for freedom of Biafra, that pastor is an evil pastor. I said it. Even if it is my own pastor that is not preaching for Biafra freedom in that land, that pastor is an evil pastor. So I want to tell our people, let them wake up and join Biafra, because Biafra is already here.
Of course. Are you there, caller on the line? Caller on the female line, I will advise you to leave your radio alone and focus on your phone. Our people must understand. We must remain focused. We must understand who these enemy are, what they are doing. It doesn't matter who else is God. One thing stand above all in this matter, and that is Chukwu Kikabiama and blessing. Every other thing you do anyhow, you see anyhow. And I will appreciate when our people come talk about this evil they are doing to us, because in the end, Biafra must be restored. Caller on the line, are you there?
Hello.
Good evening from here. Your name and where are you calling from, please?
Hello, George Onyibe. Mataji isi oke nyekwa isi. veteran fine boy na akpọrọ.
Good evening, sir, from here. Go ahead, please.
Good evening. Amamihe Awụsa na-achọ n'osimiri. Ụmụnna adịghị amamihe Awụsa na-achọ n'osimiri. Amamihe Awụsa na-achọ n'osimiri. Shọba tere bịa amamihe Awụsa na-achọ n'osimiri. Ọbụzigwe bịa amamihe Awụsa na-achọ n'osimiri. Ụmụnna abịa amamihe Awụsa na-achọ n'osimiri. Hello, George Onyibe. Thank you, my dear. Somebody thinking that Nigeria subdued Biafra is a capital lie. We did it. We fight it. We fought it. So, this useless Vic invited the OAU for a peace distance to separate the war. Not that Nigeria subdued Biafra. Never. Biafra invented Onyibe. Biafra invented mines. Biafra invented the shore battery. Biafra invented the Saladin, parades, and so on and so forth. Biafra invented the flying Onyibe. So, what did Nigeria invent? Nothing. So, my advice is this to Nigeria: let them leave us alone. Let them leave us alone. That's my advice to them. Because, assuming they declare war again, as Gowan declared before, I tell you, what I am seeing now, Nigeria will scatter into ashes.
Whether they declare war or not, Nigeria must scatter. It's as simple as that. Let them declare anything. Declare Mohammed, declare Holy Ghost, declare Ogomo. Yes. Let them declare anything. Yes. Nigeria must scatter. It's as simple as that.
Oh, Biafra, Nigeria is it. Oh, Biafra, Nigeria is it. Oh, Republic of Biafra, Republic of Biafra, Nigeria is it. Thank you, my dear.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, veteran fine boy.
We must continue. And like I said earlier, this is where we'll be drawing the curtain for this segment. And I should say thank you for calling in. Sincere apology to those that cannot pick their call at this moment. Duty calls. They will know.
We are no longer in Egypt. We have crossed our sea. We've gone far in this wilderness. Big new steps ahead. We are no longer in Egypt. We have crossed our seas. We've gone far in this wilderness. Big new steps ahead. When it gets tough to end this, our heroes will not defend. No retreat, no surrender. Biafra is already here. Not yet we remember the price of our great heroes. No retreat, no surrender. Biafra is already here. Inside the wilderness, never open your soul to the wicked one. Penetrate and kill your people. To what we get charge you to say. Inside the wilderness, never sell your soul to the wicked ones. Penetrate and kill your people. God have charged you to say. When it gets tough to end this, neither of the heroes will not defend. No retreat, no surrender. Biafra is already here. Not yet may we remember the price of our great hero. No retreat, no surrender. Biafra is already here. Inside the wilderness, never allow yourself to be used to destroy the innocent souls. God have put in your hands to save. inside the wilderness. Never allow yourself to be used to destroy the nonsense. God have told you to say, when it's your stop to end this, neither of our heroes will not defend. No retreat, no surrender. Biafra is already here.